Well, joining us today, just back from your very first session as a representative, Carl Tepper, thank you so much for skipping the nap for at least an hour and coming with us.
And a special session already.
Oh yeah,
Does that make me a veteran?
You got the brunt already. Yeah, you're not. You're really not. I
right.
mean, definitely not a newbie. So maybe we start with the newest, which is Paxton.
Right.
How's it going?
Controversial vote.
Yeah.
The feedback we got before the vote was probably 100 to 1 against impeaching him. Look, he's in a lot of trouble. There's been a lot of bad things swirling around him. Now, he deserves his day in court. He's not guilty, okay? He's been sort of indicted by the grand jury, which is what the House of Representatives stood by. But we have accusations of multiple fraud. We have intimidation of witnesses, bribery, using his office for personal benefit, for the benefit of developers in Austin, and on and on. And sometimes they're not even related. It's just a trend of these things, you know.
Yeah.
You can forgive one or two dalliances. People are naturally, have issues in their lives and do things that are out of character.
Sure.
In this case, we have multiple, and it continues. And so I feel very comfortable with that vote. All the evidence that I have is available to the public. They can look on Texas House of Representatives, pull up the video from the General Investigating Committee and watch that testimony. And now it's the testimony of not directly of the witnesses, which are very well documented in the other civil cases that they had, but the testimony of the investigators. All the witnesses are credible. The investigators were credible. They're following it back to the money trail, and they are having subpoenas flying like crazy into financial institutions and such. So if the Senate looks at the evidence I saw, unless there's some real credible defense or they're able to have some kind of a doubt, I think we're looking at prison time for the Attorney General.
Wow.
That's just my personal opinion. Again, he is not guilty of anything until all of the trial is done. And by the way, this trial in the Senate is just to remove him from office. He hasn't been hung, he's not imprisoned or anything.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that the things that we're finding now, that they're digging into deeper, depending on the defense, I could just imagine that's all going to end up in a criminal trial.
Wow. So this is not just impeachment, like you said, and you did vote for impeachment.
I did.
What are you hearing from your constituents? Because I mean, that's not an easy vote either way. The
constituency is angry. They have a right to be. They weren't brought into a lot of the information. We weren't. It was a very short fuse on this. Frankly, what I saw continuing to happen, the misuse of the office and the assets of the office, this should have been done last session or 2 sessions ago.
Wow.
I always knew there were accusations swirling around the Attorney General. I didn't realize how bad they were or put all the little points together.
Yeah.
But I think it's a real bad situation. We were sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. We were sworn to protect Texas and its citizens, and we're going to do it, even if it's not very popular. So I'm very proud of the House of Representatives for taking a very tough vote. By and large, public opinion was against removing the Attorney General. I voted for him. In the runoff election, I voted for him. In the general election, I wasn't real familiar with everything that was going on with this Attorney General.
Sure.
But now that I've been brought into a little more information, again, information that any citizen can get, we have a real bad situation that needs to be resolved.
Yeah, and it's not a party line vote, which is what a lot of people were expecting. This is a conservative-run House, so maybe it wasn't expected to stick. I mean, but again, voting conscience or voting party, you feel good about where you landed?
Attorney General Paxton was very popular for suing the Biden administration and giving the Democratic administration a hard time. He deserves the praise for that. He did a great job at it, but honestly, that's very natural for a Republican Attorney General to attack, the Democratic presidential administration. Greg Abbott, the now governor, used to be the Attorney General. He sued the Obama administration all the time. It's the right thing to do if they're picking on us as a state. But it's also very good politics. So realize that, I'm not dealing with a folk hero. This is someone who's very high office. Has to answer for these accusations, very strong accusations, again, very credible witnesses, and let the chips fall where they may. Right now, I think it's not looking very good for the Attorney General.
Yeah, and we'll find out at least by August 28th, and so.
Well, we're going to know. I think that's what, did they, I don't know if they confirmed that target date for a trial. I hadn't heard yet, but it'll be
done by then,
it'll be towards the end of the summer.
Okay, yeah, so lots of information gathering, and while the state waits.
Lots of intrigue and information.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another large storyline, I mean, most of us that aren't in Austin are sitting here with our popcorn just trying to watch and make sense of it all. Property taxes. You're here right now because you can't, I mean, you adjourned, the House adjourned, and passed what Abbott asked you to. So can you talk a little bit about that, because I know that that's been a struggle. Yeah,
I'm disappointed where that went. My second bill was to cap property taxes lower. You already had a 10% cap on your homestead, which
you
was
wanted 2.5, right?
I wanted 2.5% in my second bill that I ever filed, 2.5% for homestead, and then introduce a cap for commercial property of 8%. The speaker must have liked my idea, but he did one step further. He went 5% on your residential homestead. He went 5% on commercial property. So I was very excited with the plan. I thought it was something the Senate had agreed to already, but they didn't. The Senate would have rather had an exemption of up to $100,000. And boy, the two houses did not agree. The House of Representatives was ready to introduce all of it. They were going to do the exemption and the caps, but the Senate really bucked that, did not like the cap idea. That deal fell through, so they decided to do what's called compression, which I think is a terrible term for something. It's just a buy down of the school tax rate. The maintenance operation rate, they're going to buy that down 16.2 cents. So that'll help. I don't know if it'll be permanent. I would have rather seen the caps and the exemption, but maybe we'll get into that in another special session, or I'll be happy to file the bill next session.